Welcome to another episode of Queen's Vantage podcast. And I have an amazing guest for y'all today. From mom to mogul and owner of the Marina Lounge, please welcome to Queen's Vantage podcast, Elease. Hi, Elease.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the throne.
Thank you for having me on your throne.
So listen, this is another episode that I've manifested, y'all. I think it's been about 3 or 4 years where I said, I'm going to interview this beautiful Black woman who is the owner of the Marina Lounge. And now I am sitting down with her to have a conversation about being rooted in resilience, because Elease has a story that I think will inspire all of you. Elease, before we get into the business, let's talk about your beginnings. You shared with me when we sat down to talk that you were raised by a very young mother, and how that impacted you in a very powerful way for you to not want to grow and be a statistic. Can you talk about your humble beginnings?
Thank you for the opportunity to share that on Queen's Vintage. But yes, my mother had me when she was 15 years old. We came from the East Coast to the West Coast. I was about 3 months at the time. And part of growing up with her, she was my everything. I mean, she was a 15-year-old mom, but she was a mom. I wasn't raised by my grandma or my aunt or my uncles or friends. I was raised by my mom, which gave me the opportunity to see what it's like to be a real woman at any age.
Yeah.
And one of the things that kind of drive me in everything I do and why I keep pushing and working hard and trying to work to improve our community, just to be an example, is because of some of the backlash that happened because she was so young. I never wanted to be something that she regretted doing, so I always did everything trying to make her proud.
Yeah. So what are some of those things that you did? Because you've had an incredible career. You got your education. You've worked in different areas in the industry. And I want to talk about because I was a young mom, and I'm doing an episode to really dive into that. I had my first child when I was 20. I was pregnant at 19. And I feel like we grew up together.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I also had to learn. So there was a lot of learning for me. One, learning to become a woman. And then in addition to that, learning to become a mom. Right. And I know that that's had an impact on my child, but it also had an impact on me. Like what you said to me was that I refuse to become a statistic. Like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get a good education. I'm going to work at a Fortune 500 company, and I've done those things. But how did that really inspire you, seeing your mother through her trials and her tribulations and growing up, to help you become the woman that you are today?
Well, she was just resilient.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, I never seen her cry or struggle. I never went without. I always thought, I went to private schools all my life until I went to high school. So I didn't see her struggle, but I could see the struggle or the sadness just from the outside world.
Yeah.
And because she was such a young mother, she was somebody who told me, always give 100%. So anything that you walk away from, you can say, I did my best. So I took that within everything I did in my life, working for University of California, San Francisco, which I retired from as an HR director. I worked there 27 years.
Wow.
Climbed my way up the ladder. First to graduate with a master's in my family. So again, trying to teach that education is important.
Yeah.
Owning my own business, pushing away the fear of what if this does not work.
Yeah.
and also believing in God.
Yeah.
That if it doesn't work, it may not have been meant for you, and keep on until you find out your purpose and make it work.
Absolutely.
So that was some of the things that she grounded in me. I can do anything. A loss is never a loss. It's just a lesson. So I just, I never get, and people say, you're strange, you're never mad. I never get really emotionally bothered by anything
Yeah.
because I always know there's something else for me.
Yeah. How do you stay so grounded? I mean, because this isn't, like we said, this isn't the first industry that you've worked in, but also you've owned other businesses beyond before the Marina Lounge, correct? Yeah.
I have a construction company, Important Details Inc. We're general contractors. I have my B, my C10, and C16, which I've had to put to the side because of Marina Lounge. It's a 24/7 type of industry. But a woman-owned construction company that when I retired in 2012, I went to the Black Chamber and started working Peggy Cohen Thompson. I'm going to give her a shout out because she's like my godmother. I love her. I commuted from Vallejo to San Francisco for at least 20 of those 27 years. And just thinking, it's got to be something else. So eventually getting up enough courage. And at the time, my husband said, okay, go for it, and we opened up, it was called Minor Details.
Okay.
It was a cleaning company to where we were going, we would clean up construction sites or knock them down, and clean them up, prepare them for construction, and then after construction, clean them up, prepare for the move-in. So we did that for a while. I enjoyed that. It didn't, a lot of people think from the outside when you have your own business, it's money, it's a lot of late nights. It's a lot more difficult than working for someone because you have a guaranteed check.
Yeah.
So there's some sacrifices you have to make, and patience is very important.
Yeah.
But, I started, nobody knows this about me. I used to have a braiding company, Beautiful Braids
A braiding
by Elease.
company?
Oh, yes. Not company, but back in the 80s and 90s, I was the braiding queen. People would come from Sonoma, Santa Rosa, San Jose for me to braid their hair.
Like I said, talk about being a mogul, y'all. I want to talk about the strength and the struggle when you're an entrepreneur. And a lot of my podcast is really dedicated to women of color and the multiple hats that we wear and how we're not always accepted in spaces. So I want to talk a bit about how you've navigated struggle in the different industries that you've been in, and then how you've now pivoted, because what you've done in the past is very different from what you're doing now. But to talk about, your resilience and how you face struggle and obstacles through each of those businesses.
I'll actually start not only with my own business, but as an employee.
Yeah.
I worked, like I mentioned, I worked at UCSF. That's one of the most prestigious medical centers in the United States.
Yes.
I was able to work my way up, and it's not easy working up. You just kind of figure out, how to, I won't call it play the game, but I would call it do what's necessary as far as know your trade, know what you're supposed to do, speak to the individuals that, like mentors, mentors. If, for instance, I wanted to get into human resources. So I started talking to human resources managers. I had a mentor who was in human resources. So you just talk to the people who are in a trade. You hang, and this another thing my mom always told me is surround yourself around people that you want to be like.
Yes.
Always don't think you're the smartest person in the room. Go into rooms where you can learn.
Yeah.
And that is another thing. So the challenge, and I'll go back to at UCSF, this is primarily Caucasian.
Yeah.
So in the process of, working with the doctors, I was myself very hardworking. It was noticed. It gets noticed. I'm diligent and resilient about getting what needed to be done, reports, information. If I had to stay up all night long to make sure the information that I had to present the next day was on point, I did it. Make sure I looked right, professional, I did it. Because I could, at one point that I remember, is I got promoted to a division administrator. So I was a division administrator for 3 departments, 3 divisions within UCSF. And I would have to meet once a month with like 21 doctors, in different areas. And I would have to present to them, any like financials, any staffing issues, any supply issues. I would have to present to them. So I would have to have that stuff in order and present it in a way that I could present the information intelligently so they can understand it, and that another thing is that she knows what she's talking about. Then going into the construction field. Again, the only black woman in a room full trying to do bids or bidding on different projects, only black woman, and most of them were like, they knew each other. I was really new in the industry. So feeling
and is that
like
a male-driven industry?
Construction is a very male, but I had already kind of got my toes wet with working with the faculty at UCSF. So I wasn't intimidated by it. So I could still go in and, hey, there's a group of them over there talking. I go over with the group, hey, what field are you in? How long have you been doing it? Here's my card. Let's talk. Following up with them. So become part of the industry, not like an outsider, not intimidated by the other individuals in the room.
Do you feel, or have you felt like you've had to work twice as hard, sometimes for half as much?
Absolutely, all the time. But I understood it.
Yeah, because what you're saying is not unfamiliar for me, working in a predominantly white field, which has been over centuries. And now we're starting to see more people of color in philanthropy. But I felt you when you were saying, like, I had to look the part. So I always had to come in and make sure that I was presentable. I had to know what I was doing. So I had to be very knowledgeable and make sure that, it was lots of follow-up. I started at the very beginning of the company as the receptionist, and now have worked my way up in my company. So there's a lot of hard work when we're trying to be successful women, and I think break that mold. But I do want to get into what you're doing now, because I think it's really exciting. First of all, Elease just had a birthday. So when you're watching this episode and you're enjoying this episode, I want y'all to get in the chat and wish Elease a happy birthday.
Thank you. I just turned 60 on Tuesday, May 27th.
I'd like to say 60 where?
60 with grandkids, yes.
Yeah. But I want to talk about your vision for the Marina Lounge. Where you are today and where you see the business going, and just how you got into this industry. So working from construction, and you said you're at a cleaning company, the hospital, braiding, and now you're the owner of a lounge.
Yeah. So I started in construction with the cleaning, but we ended as general contractors, but we did residential and commercial buildings. So I was the president of the Solano County Black Chamber from 2016 to 2020.
And how did that come about?
Becoming the president of the Solano Black Chamber, because I was a secretary for many years. At that time, Peggy Cohen Thompson, who was my mentor, I worked with her, and I was voted in as the president in 2016.
Very nice.
I'm currently, which is very dear to my heart. I'm currently the president of the Northern California Black Chamber Presidents Association, which I work with the presidents throughout Northern California, from Kern County all the way to San Joaquin.
Yeah.
So that, I'm still with the chambers, if you will. One thing a lot of people, and I just want to mention a little note that this is very dear to my heart too, is I'm a trustee, an elected official on the Solano County Office of Education.
Very nice.
Yes.
What don't you do?
But, and so to go back to your question, it's like opening doors, like going into the doors. Like I was always taught there's no door that you can't open.
Wow.
So and I take that back to my mom. It's like, that you're just as good as anyone else.
That's right.
You deserve as much as anyone else. Don't no one tell you no. You're the only one who tell you yourself no, and don't ever do that. If it's something you want, go for it. So going into Marina Lounge, we used to have our events there where the previous owners, Cedric, who owned the lounge, he owned it. So, he had contacted me and said, hey, I'm going to be selling it. Are you interested? Do you know anyone who is interested? And this is during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is actually
When people weren't really
people weren't
going
out. We
out.
weren't even
Yeah.
outside yet. And I was like, I don't know how that's gonna work, but we'll see. Because he said he wanted it to stay in the Black community, just
Yeah.
as I wanted to stay in the Black community. I think Marina Lounge is a diamond in the rough. Once
Yeah.
the Soon City builds, it'll be like a cornerstone place. Anybody who comes into Marina Lounge, they just love the vibe.
Yeah.
And that's part of the vibe is just I would like to say how people feel when they come in,
Yeah.
and it's welcome. And that's one of the things when people would come to my mom's home, they always felt welcome, always felt they left better than they came into the building. But I'll just say this, before owning the Marina Lounge, I didn't go out to clubs a lot. I wasn't a clubber.
So you weren't a clubber.
I was not a clubber. This was my vision. Okay, I'll buy this lounge and I'll franchise this lounge. That's my entrepreneurial brain and my inexperience with club. I'm going to make this a franchise as the president of Northern California Black Chambers Association. And, a lot of times it's like not always what you know, who you know.
Right.
I can build a Marina Lounge on every marina throughout Northern California.
Okay, big
so
dreams.
that
Yeah.
was the vision. And once getting into Marina Lounge, understanding the depth of what's needed to run
Yeah.
a business like that,
Yeah.
it takes more than one person. It takes a tribe. That vision has to be shared amongst many people who are ready to, pull up their sleeves and really do the work.
So in real time, what are some of the challenges that you face? Because a lot of folks that watch the podcast are entrepreneurs, and I'm sure many of them think I can run a lounge, I can run a nightclub.
It's so funny. A lot of people who come in, and I smile. I don't want to say no, you don't, but no, a lot of people say that, and it looks a lot more glamorous from the outside than it does on the inside. That particular business.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm running the lounge solely by myself.
Okay.
So I would not recommend anyone doing that. I would recommend getting partners. I would recommend going through some counseling with your partners prior to doing that type of joint venture, because it's like a marriage, and it's something that you don't walk away easily. But some of the challenges is, just getting the right combination of staff together.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're doing enough to keep them wanting to come back, because there's other places they can go and work.
Yeah.
Why do they want to work at Marina Lounge? So it has to be something more there. And for Marina Lounge and the staff I have now, I feel like they're family.
Okay.
They're committed. Like sometimes we don't make enough money for payroll.
Yeah.
And that, hey, we don't have pay. But they know, because they
Yes.
see what the week look like.
Yeah.
So they know it's like, you're not getting paid Monday, you're getting paid Tuesday. And
Yeah.
they're okay with that. Some people wouldn't be okay with that. But
Yeah.
so it's just coordinating all the logistics behind running a club, because Marina Lounge is let me just give a quick shout out for Marina Lounge.
Yes.
It's an entertainment venue. It's a venue where we like live entertainment. We have karaoke, Sunday brunch. We do game night. Like tonight is also going to be a game night, fish fry, where people come. We have games all over the tables, cards, spades, bid whist, dominoes, all kind of card games, and we just table to table just play games together. It's like a grown-up game night.
Yeah. You host birthday parties.
And we host private parties, birthday parties, which is really becoming like one of the more popular things a lot of people like, because it's already decorated. So you come in and you don't have to, and it's always already have all the DJ stuff there. And we also have our own DJs that they can select from. We have birthday packages. But
Yeah.
coordinating all of that is a lot.
Yeah.
Just the HR.
And the fact that you're doing all of this on your own.
Yes.
And thankfully you have amazing staff. And like you said, it's like family, and I'm sure like family, it's tricky sometimes as well. But thank you for, your transparency around that, because I think that's the part of the business that people don't see. And I don't know if you remember, but when I first asked you about coming on a podcast, and you was like, yes, because people think it's so glamorous, and they think that you just have a lot of money, and that's not what it's like.
It's not.
Yeah.
I think in any business, it takes at least 5 years to really, because I think the first 2 years, you're kind of getting your feet wet, learning, making mistakes, correcting the mistakes. You lose a lot of money in the first couple of years, but after you kind of get in there, you get grounded and understand exactly, okay, I need to change this, tweak that, do this. Then things, start coming together. I think it takes 5 years, but if it's something that you're really passionate about, if it's something that you believe it's your purpose, you have to hang in there. There's going to be times when there's no money at all, where you got to go into your own money, borrow money. If it's your passion, it'll turn around and become successful. Yeah. Don't give up. Yeah. And one of the very, very lessons of humility, I had to, instead of keeping everything to myself, I had actually last year, because not that it got overwhelming, but it was more than I could handle. And I started reaching out to friends and family and colleagues and said, hey, I need help. Yeah. And that was like the aha moment for me in that space was, what can I do to help you? Yeah.
Well, how did you get there? Because I think a lot of people don't realize when you have that epiphany, you're like, I need to reach out and ask for help. But what did it take for you to get there, to actually reach out for the help?
Well, the doors were going to close. Yeah. It was like there was not going to be a Marina Lounge, because not only was I tired, I've ran out of my savings. I ran out of my borrowing, privileges from family and friends. It's just like, this is just not going to work. And it was in the third year, and I'm like, I still see the vision. I still see it happening. But, I'll just give up. And something said, no, don't give up. You need to go talk to some, just to let people don't know, because I'm a private person too. Yeah. People really don't know what you're going. They don't know. And if you ask for help, which I never learned how to do, that's one thing my mom never taught me. Okay. How to ask for help. Yeah. You can do it, you're independent. But asking for, and you don't just go out and just do a drive ask everybody. Yeah. And you ask people you think willing to help or can help. And if it's not financially, advice, direction, services, anything, and it was just very beautiful how it came.
How people rallied around you.
I mean, it really kind of, it was like I took such a deep breath, because I was overwhelmed with the help that came forward. Yeah. And it said, you should have said something sooner.
Yeah. I want to sit with this because, being raised by a strong Black woman, becoming a strong Black woman, and I think what you said is so poignant around, like, I was never taught how to ask for help. And I can't imagine that we're the only ones that struggle with that. And I've had to learn how to do more of it. There was a period in my life where I felt like I'll just hire more help. And like you said, and then you're depleting your assets.
Yeah, that's what I did at first, where, that's what I did.
But to anyone who's listening to this podcast, if you all can sit with that for a moment and realize how important it is. Like, I feel like I'm privately well known. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that I keep to myself. But when you're in this business, there's a lot that you want to put out there, because people want to know who you are. And I'm sure you do a bit of that the same over at the Marina Lounge, where it's like, who are you as the person? And, why should we support you? But to all my especially my women listening to this, you are not a failure for asking for help. Like Elease said, sometimes you're facing eviction. Sometimes that business is going to close, or that car is going to be repossessed. Don't be ashamed of your challenges. It's a part of who you are. It's what makes us who we are, right? That resilience. And that's why I wanted this episode to be titled Rooted in Resilience, because there's so much that we face, and it's okay. Right. Like what Elease said, just don't give up. Reach out for help. How can my listeners help you and support you over at the Marina Lounge?
Walk through the doors. Simple ask and buy some. We have the most delicious fish, chicken, fries, spaghetti. We have Sunday brunch that is just delicious. At only $30, you get chicken, fish, grits, seafood gravy, bacon, eggs, home potatoes, Caesar salad, fruit salad, and a glass of champagne.
I was going to say, and the mimosas.
That's on
Yes.
Sundays. Just walk through the door.
You have live music
live
events.
music. We have live music. We have DJ there. The place is just beautiful. It's a vibe. It's a warm environment. Just come visit.
Yeah.
I know I very rarely charge at the door. The only time we charge people to actually come in is when there's a live entertainment and we have to pay the band. Yeah. But other than that, if you're in Northern California, just come through the doors, visit us, say hey, have a drink. It's a place, and I just want to take it back to my mom.
Yeah.
I remember the place before I got married. It was 530 Steiner Street in San Francisco, and everybody wanted to come 530 Steiner. So once my mom passed away, people talk about why they liked being there so much. And it was because the way she made them feel.
Yeah.
And each of them secretly, and as we're listening to people talk about, and this is something for everybody, what will people say about you?
Yes.
And it's really not how you act, or it's not about what you did. It's the way you make people feel.
Absolutely.
It's at the end of the day. It's how you make them feel. So to say that my goal for Marina Lounge is to make people feel better leaving than when they came.
Yeah. And just to say, there's a beautiful portrait of your mother that is hung at the Marina Lounge.
Yeah.
And I know that, she's still with you in spirit, day by day, every day when you walk into the building.
Yeah, she's with me every day. She motivates me.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about some of the misconceptions about Miss Elease.
Okay.
Because I do think that people think that they know us. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that you shared with me, is like, people think that they know who you are, but who is Elease?
Who is Elease? I'm still trying to figure her out sometimes myself.
Yes.
I'm growing every day and learning more about myself every day, but I will say I'm very humble. Oftentimes people say, you're too nice. You can't be so nice, and especially in this type of industry. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say it out loud, I'm a people pleaser.
Okay.
And at some point I thought that was a bad thing to be. It's a people pleaser, but it's really not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's as long as you have your boundaries and you, know when you're not being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be hard or stern or I said the last word or I'm having my way. It's not your way. It's like, and that's part of my personality. It's like I call it Kuma Matata.
Well, when I'm thinking about the industries that you've been in, a lot of those, it relies on people being happy, right? Yeah. So as a braider, you're not, if your client isn't happy, they're not coming back.
Right.
And word of mouth is everything.
Right.
And even in, construction, you're hired for a job, people want something done. And if it's not done, you're going to fix it.
Right.
Right? Absolutely. Or you're going to lose out on money.
Absolutely.
And then, shifting over even to the Marina Lounge, people is what make your business successful, and you want them to be happy. But I just wanted to say that when you said your humbleness and you address like you're a humble human being, you absolutely are. From the moment that I met you, and you could have been like, listen, girl, I am busy, because you were busy. You were running the business. People were stopping. We were trying to have a conversation and people were stopping you and they needed you. But you were like, I'm here to talk to you. I got you. And when I was pitching another idea, you was like, whatever you want to do. It's just like, you got it. And you're just so humble and so kind. And I can say each time that I visited the Marina Lounge, which has been quite a few times, even before you and I met, and I've seen you from a distance, and you're the same every time. Every time. Just smiling, graceful, welcoming. You want people to be happy. You need some more ketchup, whatever it is, the owner. Like, you are on the ground, making sure that every person that visits you say hello to, and they know that whatever we need is taken care of. So
Thank you
it's
for
who
that.
you are.
Thank you.
Any upcoming events that folks should know about, that they should visit? And I want you to tell our guests where they can find you, because I think it's important that you go follow Elease and Marina Lounge on Instagram. And if you have a website, please shout out your website so that people can know where to find the information.
Okay, it is Marina Lounge Sassoon, and you can go to Facebook for Marina Lounge Sassoon. If you Google Marina Lounge Sassoon, our website should come up. Instagram, Marina Lounge Sassoon. It's just Marina Lounge Sassoon. Our upcoming event that I'm really very excited about is Marina Lounge is going to be a premier vendor at the Black Food and Wine event in Oakland next Saturday.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. But also Saturday, we're also having the Manny Run, and that's a biker's run. It's like all the bikers get together. They're going to start off in Oakland at 12 o'clock, and then they're going to come. They're going to start at Oakland at 10, and they're going to come to Marina Lounge at 12, from 12 to 4. We're going to have lunch for them, and they're just going to hang out. We're going to listen to music. We got DJ there, and then we're also having that evening salsa, which we do every first Saturday of the month. We have salsa night, where we have a salsa instructor, a live band, and a DJ. So that's really fun. We move all the tables. People are learning how to do salsa. In that same breath, we have line dancing with Miss Rochelle every second and fourth Sunday of the month. You learn all the new line dances, including boots on the ground. And my birthday last party was a day party last Saturday, and everybody was dressed in Western. It was so much fun. And we had been learning all the line dances.
Yeah.
So everybody was on the floor line dance.
Everybody had their boots on the ground.
Oh, my God. It was so much fun. I had so much fun for my birthday.
And you looked amazing.
Thank you.
Doing
It was really fun.
Yeah.
And then we have First Fridays with Reggie's. We have a lot of comedy coming up down the pipeline, some headliners coming to do comedy, because I'm getting more feedback. And I listen to people when they say, you should have comedy here. Okay, let's get some comedy. You should have this here. Okay. So I try to listen to the community and try to have inside Marina Lounge what they're saying and asking for us. They had even told us, you should get some hamburgers. We started making hamburgers, but nobody ate the hamburgers.
Yeah.
Because it's like a lounge. They don't want to be eating a big old hamburger. But I listen to feedback.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know it all. I don't want to know it all. I want Marina Lounge to be a space for our community, where people want to come. You don't have to cross any bridges. You come over for a good time. Our karaoke nights are just one of my funnest nights of the week, is, actually listening to people singing.
When is karaoke? Is that Thursdays?
Karaoke's on Thursday, and we're adding into karaoke sing-along. So, like myself, who don't have the best voice, I can sing along to a song. But now we're doing karaoke lit, where we actually have the words on the big screen.
Okay.
So while the person's up there singing karaoke, anybody who wants to kind of sing along can sing along with the karaoke. So just to be fun, it's like in this world we have a lot of things going on.
Yes.
Our families, and at 60, like I was talking to my daughter the other day, and I had to sit with myself too. It's like I've been through a lot, and I know I'm not the only one who has been through a lot.
Yes.
And I just want Marina Lounge to be a place that you can come in for at least a couple of hours. Just have a place where you're welcome. There's hugs, there's laughter, drinks, there's toast. You be silly, meet people. I always say this too. We should be like a place for matchmaking place, because we've matched up a couple of people. 3 couples have gotten married, and they met at Marina Lounge, and at least 3 more that are considering it.
Okay, so there's hope, y'all.
Yep. So he's thinking about a dating thing.
Yes.
We should do a dating thing.
Like a speed dating event. Wouldn't that be fun?
A speed dating event.
Yes.
Well, actually, some of those couples, it's like you see that person coming in. I said, you might want to go meet her. She's like a nice person. You might want to go say hi. Go buy her a drink. And it just works out.
Yeah. Okay, so the vibe is good. The food is good. And now you could possibly come and meet your husband or your wife. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than that. So we've talked about the strength and the struggle, but I want to talk about self-care.
Yes.
Because you have a lot going on. How do you care for yourself?
Very good question. Because I've said, what was it? I was talking to someone on my birthday this past Tuesday. I said, I haven't did anything in 4 years. I haven't gotten on a plane in 4 years. I haven't taken a long car ride in 4
Really?
years. Because they're saying, oh, you look good for your age. And I'm like, I was thinking that, I said, I got to start working on it now.
Yeah.
I
Now,
got to
is
get
that
in the gym.
because you're so rooted in the business right now and it's keeping you from it?
It's because of the business, because it's only me, and that's why I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
a business like this, it could be very rewarding, very successful, but a business like this, you want to have a team.
Yeah.
It's not something that you want to do alone.
Yeah.
So with that, it's just running the business. You have to
Yeah.
be there, or you have to be able to afford to have someone that you can pay to be there.
Yeah.
And that was a thought that I had originally, too, as part of my franchise. I'll have a operations manager at each place, and I'll just
Yeah.
go be visiting each place. Mm-hmm. But you gotta. It's just a lot more with the
There-
food industry.
There's a funny quote. It says, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him what you have planned.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So if you had to think about what self-care looks like for you, what is a day just for Elease where you're not the mogul, you're not the mom, you're not running the Marina Lounge, but if you just had a day for yourself, what would that look like?
I would start like going to the gym. I love working out. Just going back, because I had a gym regimen 4 years ago too.
Yeah.
But working, just walking, thinking,
Yeah.
spending time with my grandkids. That's like one of the things I'm thinking about right now. With how much further can I go with Marina Lounge? Because
Yeah.
my grandson just graduated junior high school yesterday,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh my God, he's in high school. I only have 4 more years with him. That was my selfish thought.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? But just spending time with my family,
Yeah.
because I have a beautiful family, very loving family. They get together all the time.
Yeah.
And I miss the get-togethers because I'm always at Marina Lounge. I can just stop by for like an hour, then I have to go.
You have somewhere to be tonight.
Yeah, I have somewhere to be tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the spa. I love eating. Just maybe go to the city and check
Yeah.
out some restaurants and eat. Have a spa day with my boo, which
Okay.
I met at Marina Lounge.
Okay. Okay, now I'm getting a lot of hope here now.
And he's a good
I'll see you
guy.
tonight.
My sister met her boo at Marina Lounge.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely the grown and mature.
Good guys.
there.
Very good
Very
guys. It's
good
like,
guys.
I didn't even
Yeah.
think a guy, it's like, why are you single? No. We've been
All
dating a
right.
couple
Sounds
of
like I
years.
might be going to Marina Lounge tonight, y'all.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Well, we wish you more of that because you
Yes.
deserve it. So I need all of you. Like, if you're listening to this, there's plenty of dates for you to come out to Marina Lounge to have a good meal. Like I said, have a good drink and maybe meet your boo. Who knows what might happen? But fill those seats so that we
that's what we need.
can have this beautiful woman now take a vacation, because I feel like that it's due.
It's due.
It's due. But you talked about your grandkids. And so before we get out of here, I want to talk about your legacy and what you're hoping to leave behind for the grandkids, for your children, and what you want people to know about Elease. Like, what is the legacy that you want to leave?
Very good question. So originally, like I said, you have to sit and think with yourself, oh, I want to leave them wealth.
Yeah.
But wealth comes in many forms, So I do plan to leave them wealth, but also the wealth of their character,
Yeah.
the strength of their own opinion and being who they are, regardless. That they always have to know to be respectful,
Yeah.
love on yourself first and each other. Live, don't be afraid that you're going to fail, because failure builds character. Failure builds knowledge and wisdom. And you can't teach what you haven't learned. And most lessons are learned out of failure.
Yes.
So, keep pushing. It's a song Gladys Knight sings. It's one of my favorite songs. And I said, when I pass away, I want my grandkids to sing this song. Is I Hope You Dance. That is my song for my grandkids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, do you want to give any shout outs to some folks today? First, before you go, I want to shout out Mo. Because Mo encouraged me. He was like, go talk to her. Because that's my area of struggle. It's like, I don't like approaching people. But Mo actually encouraged me to have the conversation with you. So shout out, Mo. The episode, like I said, we have been manifesting this for a long time. So thank you for encouraging your sis to reach out to Elease to make some magic today.
Mo is definitely a ride or die. He be out there looking, and when he ain't even supposed to be, he's looking out.
Yeah.
And I definitely shout out Mo. He's part of our team.
Yeah.
Even when he's not part of the team, he's still part. He's there. I mean,
Yeah.
and we love him, and he knows everything and everybody around Sassoon City, and he looks out for Marina Lounge, and he has since he started with us. I want to shout out my team, my family, everybody who supported my dream, and kind of lift up my wings when they're kind of. I'm not able to lift them up. And that happens sometimes. Anybody who's out there, it's a business owner, if it's something that you think that, or you believe in your heart that, this is what I really want to do. It's not anything that's you want or worth having is not easy to achieve.
Yes.
And most successful people, you see the success, you see the dollars, but they had to do something to get to that point. So stay strong, stay focused, stay inspired. But one thing I'd like to say, be humble. Yes. When you need help, ask for it. That's something that I had learned. I was 59 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask. What are they going to think? I'm a failure. No. Ask. And if they can't help, they'll say no. If they can, look, you got some help. Right.
Yeah. If that's the worst answer you'll hear is no, then there's still opportunity.
You're telling yourself no.
Yeah.
Teach. All continue. When as you learn, find others that you can teach. Bring somebody up with you. I'm not selfish. Then back to your question, what do I want to, leave? Is never as a people, and I say this because I deal with. A lot of different races coming out of Marina Lounge. Yeah. And I felt as African-American people, we're kind of hard on each other. Yeah. And I just pray that we find it in our hearts to be more gentle. Yeah. Understand that, we are all in this together.
I like to say we're all living a human experience.
A human experience, absolutely.
And all of our journeys are different. And like you said, when you said, like, I'm welcome to feedback. So if you're not happy with something, let me know.
Not like this,
though.
Just let me know. It wasn't intentional. She didn't mean to bring you fish and you got chicken. Yeah. It's not that big, life's. But, when we get together, let's love on each other. Yeah.
And extend, like you said, extend grace to one another.
Extend grace to each other.
Because we need that.
We definitely do.
And that's what I'm hoping with this platform, is that it's an extension of grace. People ask me all the time, like, are you going to talk about whatever's trending? And the integrity of this podcast is a positive space. Like you said, when people come to the Marina Lounge, you want them to feel like they're at home, they're comfortable, they have a good time, the vibe is right. And that's the same thing with Queen's Vantage. When folks sit down here, I hope that you are empowered, that your life is impacted, and that you feel like we're a community for you, that you can drop into the chat or you can email us at Queen's Vantage Podcast, and that we'll get back to you. Or if you have more questions for Elease and you want me to connect you, reach out to us. But it's an extension of grace. Yep. This is a place where, and the reason why it's Queen's Vantage is because this is the throne.
Absolutely.
Like, this is us in our utmost, place. And I want people to feel like they're royalty every time they watch and every time they sit here.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Elease, thank you so much for not only your time, but your transparency and your vulnerability. because that's not easy for us. You know, sometimes people get up here and they're in front of the camera and we're afraid to say, hey, I've struggled. Hey, I've had some challenges. But it's a part of the resilience and what makes me me and what helps me continue to thrive each and every day. Because I always tell people, you know, I've been working at the same company for 19 years and I run a podcast and I have another business. And I'm like, I quit every day,
Right.
but I keep going.
Yeah.
You know, so I have those moments to myself, but I keep going. But before we get out of here again, Elease, thank you so much for sitting down with us, having this conversation, being open, being honest. I think that you're just such a beautiful human being. Of course I do, because I wouldn't have you here if I didn't think that.
you.
But you really are. The humility, the grace. And I just want follow Elease, follow Marina Lounge on Instagram, follow them on Facebook, and come out, have a good time with us. And I'm going to plug this unofficial event, but we will be doing a live podcast at the Marina Lounge.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
Look for it. It is coming. Please don't give up on your dreams. It doesn't matter how we start. It's all about how we end and how we live each and every day in between. And tomorrow isn't promised to any of us. So make the most out of each and every day. And if you heard anything here, be kind to one another. Keep going. Obstacles will come, but you can be rooted in resilience and continue to keep going every day. So another episode of Queen's Vantage Podcast. Like, subscribe, join us, join the throne. We enjoy having you here.